What is going on? It is Sunday, January 25th, 2026, and I wanted to cover what's going on with our winter storm. Currently, obviously, it's moving through the Northeast. It's going to be off the coast here within 24 hours. I also want to talk about some of the snowfall totals we've been seeing, and we might see another chance for snow potentially down in the south or along the coast as we get into next weekend. It also looks very cold, and there's the signals for extended cold through the east are really showing up everywhere. So we're going to get into all of that. Of course, I appreciate you guys watching this video. If you like this type of content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And if you like the video, Let's get into the weather updates. We have a freezing rain mesoscale discussion down here through portions of eastern VA and eastern North Carolina. So still some freezing rain down there. We have some thunder showers and thunderstorms moving through portions of Alabama, South Carolina, Georgia, and then northern Florida. We also have some snow falling through portions of eastern Colorado. If you watched the Broncos-Patriots game today, it started off with no snow on the ground, and by the second half, it looked like a blizzard. We still have some of that snow falling out there in Colorado, and then we actually have some snow moving potentially into the Dallas-Fort Worth region right now. It's always hard to tell sometimes on the radar if this snow is actually hitting the ground or not, but I do know you don't have that warm nose down here anymore. You don't have that warm air aloft. So I wouldn't be surprised if you've got some snow falling in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. If you're watching this video from that area, let me know down in the comments. Are you getting some nice snow right now? I know the temperatures are cold enough. We also have a mesoscale discussion up here in the Northeast for heavy snow. Probably a lot of people are excited to be in a heavy snow mesoscale discussion. Not everyone, but a lot of people, especially out here in Boston where you've been running below your totals. So heavy snow falling in Boston, portions of Connecticut, Rhode Island, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, upstate New York is still looking pretty good. And we still have some snow potentially falling through portions of northern Jersey, Long Island, New York City. A little bit of mixing happening there. And then out here in western PA and then moving into West Virginia as well. Here's the expected snowfall from the National Weather Service. This is what's expected to fall on top of what has already fallen. Another 13 inches into Boston. We're looking at 13 inches into Augusta, Maine. Albany 9 inches, Syracuse 12 inches, Hartford 6 inches. And again, this is on top of the snow that's already fallen. We saw some really good snowfall totals. I had a lot of people in my streams that were in DC, that were in Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York City. We started to see the snowfall totals trend down a little bit, but a lot of us still saw good snow. And as I said, we were going to get a lot of heavy snow up front, even if we had mixing on the back end. This site right here is lagging a lot. I think there's a lot of people looking at it, but I was looking through some of these totals. We have 9 to 10 inches reported in some areas of Philadelphia, 10.5 inches in Manhattan, some good snowfall totals coming out of DC and Baltimore as well. Not as high as they could have been, but I'm seeing anywhere between 5 to 8 inches and even more in some of those areas. New Jersey doing good as well. And then of course, Southern Indiana, Southern Illinois, Ohio. A lot of people did really great here. Oklahoma, as you can see, portions of Missouri, Arkansas. I'm going to be leaving people out, obviously, but really the snowfall totals were astonishing. This may go down as one of the winter storms of the decade, definitely, especially with how many people it affected and with the widespread ice issues that we're seeing. I've seen videos and pictures out of Mississippi, out of North Carolina. I know there's a lot of us who have gotten ice, but it's crazy. Trees down, hundreds of thousands of people without power. It's an absolute disaster. And then the issue is we have this Arctic air moving in after, so it's going to be hard to get that ice off the ground. It's going to stick around for a while. It might be difficult to get the power back on, but hang in there. Obviously, pretty much all these states are under a state of emergency and help is on the way. Is there another chance for snow next weekend? I know a lot of people are wondering that. And before I was saying I don't want to get ahead of myself, but this system is in its last 24 hours. So let's take a look. As this thing moves off the coast, we get into Monday, we get into Tuesday. Here's this Arctic air settling down. We are still cold and we're average to slightly above average out west. Let's push through Wednesday, Thursday. Let's just get out towards next weekend. What is happening? Well, our Arctic air is continuing to fall down towards the Gulf here. We have that northwesterly flow, almost northerly flow of cold air moving in from Canada. And you notice what happens here as we get towards the end of the latest Euro. This is the latest Euro run. We start to get a system forming off the coast. 140, we'll call it 130 to 140 hours out as we see this system forming. Just outside of forecasting range, you like to at least be 120 hours or under. And then for really good forecasting range, you want to be within 72 hours, obviously. So could this system not form like this still? Yes, but we do have this signal across a few models, or a signal like this across a few models. So I'd pay attention next weekend. If you're in the south, if you're along the coast, it is possible to get another snowstorm. And the cold air is very likely to stick around. Here's the GFS. So the GFS sees something developing around the same time too. You can see the snow moving through portions of the Carolinas, Virginia, trying to get some snow down there in southern Louisiana, maybe the panhandle of Florida. But you can see the GFS kind of runs this storm off the coast. Again, too far out. We're not exactly sure where this precipitation, where this snow might form, what the storm track is going to be, but we know we're going to have freezing air down there towards the warm Gulf waters in the western Atlantic. So it is very possible something like this happens. And as I'm going to show you in a second, we do look to still have a negative NAO setup, which can help to stall out some of these fronts and allow a storm to produce and run up the coast. Southern and eastern snowstorms love a negative NAO. Really quickly, this is the national blend of models. So this is all of our models together, blend it together, and look at the confidence, right? Again, we're still out 140 to 160 hours. We want to get closer to confirm if this is going to happen or not, but at this range, it's still a strong signal. There you go. The national blend of models is really thinking something's going to happen out here next weekend, likely snow-wise, maybe even out there in Texas. And then you can see there's a signal as well up there through portions of the upper Midwest and then into the Midwest. So a lot of signals on the national blend. I'd say we want to wait 48 to 72 hours. And if we continue to see a strong signal showing up, we're going to start talking about this week, probably as we get into Tuesday morning or Wednesday morning. This is the European Ensemble 10-day temperature anomaly. And guess what? Much of the same. We are cold across the plains and all the way out east. Take a look at this. This is the GEFS 30-day temperature anomaly. If you're wondering, could we see some of this cold air? Could we see some of this snow? Could we see this active winter pattern continue into February? You know what? The Euro and the GFS think so. The Canadian has a similar outlook. It's very, very interesting. And then getting into the European 500 millibar 30-day anomaly here. Wow, look at this negative NAO. Look what's happening up over the troposphere. Let's hit northern hemisphere here. Look at that. Again, this would be a tropospheric polar jet breakdown, troughing into the east. Again, this negative NAO setup, cold air and storminess, winter storm tracks potentially out east still showing up in our European weeklies here, our European extended ensembles. You get into the GEFS extended, it's much of the same. Negative NAO, some Alaskan ridging, tropospheric polar vortex breakdown, cold air, potential winter storm tracks out into the east. You'd probably want this, if you really wanted the best chance for storm tracks, you'd probably want this a little bit more to the west, but regardless, this is still cold for the east and is going to give us a potential for some more, like I said, winter storms. We'll have to see. It's a little bit hard for me to believe right now with how cold this period we're moving into is over the next week or two. And with this big winter storm we just saw, that we could be seeing this still in 2 to 3, 4 weeks. A lot of times you run out of cold air to tap into. The models think we're going to have plenty of cold air to tap into. And look, if our tropospheric polar vortex is disrupted like the Euro and the GEFS and the Canadian models think, it is possible that we just have extended cold and higher chances for snow through February. But I'm going to continue to watch this signal and I'm going to keep you guys updated. And then, oh boy, taking a look at our stratosphere, getting into this weekend, look what the European sees happening. There's our polar vortex. It's pretty healthy up there in the stratosphere, not our tropospheric one, but our stratospheric polar vortex. We get into next weekend, the Euro's thinking we could start to see a stretch and then potentially a split of the stratospheric polar vortex. And once again, this would signal very cold air, probably into the middle, maybe even towards the end of February, if we saw the stratospheric polar vortex break in half. A lot of times the coldest air from a sudden stratospheric warming event tends to move in 2 to 4 weeks after the event. It really depends how quickly the event takes place and what's happening with our oscillations and where that cold air is going to enter the mid-latitudes first and how it moves around the globe. Regardless, another cold signal here. I do plan on going live right after I post this video, so if you want to hop into the live and ask any questions, if you're up there in the Northeast, I'll let you know what's going on with that snow. We still have some ice, obviously, and some sleet moving up the coast here, the East Coast. A little bit of snow, like I said, potentially moving into Dallas-Fort Worth, some out there in Colorado, some storms down there in the Southeast, thunder showers, thunderstorms. But definitely hop in and say hi. Again, I make videos like this every single day. I try and live stream every single day. I also have an awesome weather Discord. If you want to join it, it's completely free. The link to my Discord is in the description of all of my YouTube videos. Hop in there. All the updates I give you here, all the maps I look at, all the discussions I have with you in my videos, that is all in my Discord. You can go into the weather updates on my Discord, and every single day I update everything from snowfall to severe weather to earthquakes to volcanoes, everything that's going on. It's all the latest weather updates in there. And again, it's completely free. I just want other people to use the Discord because I've put a lot of work into it, and I think it's a lot of great information. Again, I appreciate you watching this video. Of course, if you like this type of content, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and like the video if you like the video. I'll see you in the next video or in the live stream right after I post this.